Going to the defensive side of things, though, and I will kick us off. We'll go in reverse order. So me, Metcalf, Quan, Toss. Most pivotal guy on the defense for you guys this year, not named Anthony Hill.
All right.
And bonus points if you don't say Colin Simmons. So
All right.
bonus points. You can
Okay.
say him, but bonus points. But bonus. You can, but bonus points. One of the it's so interesting. We talk about like DBU, wide receiver U, because those are the sexy skill positions on I guess either side of the football. One of the underrated things about Texas is how we've been developing and producing in the next levels our interior defensive line. We have had some dudes come through the interior of the defensive line for this team the past couple seasons. And for me, a guy that I'm looking at, because there's a lot of transfers. There's one guy that's really going to be in the mix. It's not a transfer. He's a 3-star recruit, but a 3-star recruit that when we got him, a lot of us were like, that's not a real 3-star. He's a 3-star, but he's better than a 3-star. And a lot of what we're seeing out of camp is how hard Alex January works and how much he busts his ass. And for me, I think he's a guy I'm really looking at this season to come in, step up, man that interior of the defensive line. I mean, look, we had Murphy, we had Sweat, we had Field of Vern, we had Alfred Collins who came back, stayed, and developed. I'm really amped about January getting into the mix. I think he's got a ton of potential. So he's my pivotal player on the defense. Really because everywhere else, like I feel like we're really strong. It's there. I'm kind of not having question marks, but I just don't know because we haven't seen these guys. They're transfers or him, right? All the guys we had last year are gone. So he's my pivotal guy for the defense this season.
Wow. And his dad we played together at Texas. His dad, Mike.
Oh, let's go.
He played linebacker. So I'm glad you shouted out my former teammate's son. So that's a good pick. So my pick on defense is Michael Taft. And I'm picking him because I expect him to be the quarterback of that defense. He lost Jade. He lost Makuba. So he has to be back there and direct these guys and play good football at the same time. So he's going to be the guy who leads this room. He's going to be the guy that gets all these guys in place, the corners, the other safeties, everybody. He's gonna quarterback that defensive backfield. And so I expect Michael Taft to not only play like he did last year, but even better, because now he's been in the system. He knows what is expected of him, and he thought about coming out, but didn't, because he didn't think he was going to get drafted high. But he got a little chip on his shoulder, and he'll come out there and be more motivated to make sure that everything back there goes well and smoothly. And so I'm looking for Michael Taft to be that guy, and be much better than he was last year, just because of the things that we saw from him last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on Goku. I was going to say on Taft. On Taft, I was gonna say he's everything to me, and I don't hate NIL. I love NIL. Our universities benefactors of NIL. Like we benefit more than most. Like let's call it how it is. It is what it is. Like we're playing the game. He to me is everything I love about college football. Like look at his story and look at where he came from, and the fact that we're not only talking about this guy as a future draft pick, but like one of the most pivotal guys in the defense, the quarterback of the defense. He's everything that's so beautiful with his story that for college football. Like it's the fact that we still have those guys. Yes, all the 5-stars, the NIL, the transfers. Like the fact that we still have a guy that came up from where he did, contributing like he's expected to contribute for this Texas team and did last year. I just think it's so awesome.
Can I say I know that you love all that, but I wish I could have had all that. Because I would have still taken it. I tell people all the time, hey, Quinn Ewers had a NIL with a jet company. I would have needed a jet and a helicopter to get me to the jet.
Yeah.
I was like, and I to co-sign on that. I love all of it, but I'm gonna go politician. We need both. I would have loved the jet. I would have loved all that, but I do appreciate that even on this top one recruiting classes, that we've gotten, Michael Taft is getting in there. And I wanted to co-sign with Metcalf too, because we talked about it last week, Akina and his development. And then last but not least, I'm hearing a lot of murmurs about Taft Daddy doing what Jade did. When Jade blew up, he was so versatile. He would go in the slot. He would go down there in the nickel. He'd go to safety. And what people don't think about, they're like, oh, what's happening? He was, he ended up making second team All-American, all that stuff. But no, dude, he knows every freaking position. It helps you be a quarterback when you put yourself in all of those spots. You see it. He's a study. He's a workhorse. So that's and Taft Dad is just he's just good people. He good. Hey, speaking of, y'all give me crap about golf. My boy Taft, he was either practicing or playing golf all summer. So he liked him some golf too. And because of that good NIL money, I was like, man, I think I get to play on some good courses. Man, that cat was on every one I was on. I was like, good Lord, bro. Hey, and teeing off before me. I'm like, dang. No, it was cool. But yeah, I love me some Taft. I'm actually going to go. And the reason I'm thinking about this one is because it's underrated. And especially post-COVID. We finally got the COVID folks, for the most part, gone. But the maturity, the experience, and the leadership on these teams, Ohio State had one of the most veteran teams last year. If you even go back to the last few years, those veteran teams, you saw Oregon with Dylan Gabriel. You saw all these dudes they've been in college for 6-7 years. And not that Trey Moore has, but he's been there now. And not only has he been there, he was successful at UTSA. He made the transfer. He really came on the last few games last year, getting sacks and all the above. But he's also going versatile. He's going to put his hand in the dirt sometimes, but he's also playing linebacker. And so I think he's important because, yes, we're not saying Anthony Hill, but who's going to complement him? How many games do we see Bender go in there and make plays? They're going to double Anthony Hill. Bender's going to go close that gap. So now, in my opinion, I think that's where PK is going to want Trey Moore to play that role and do it well. And athletically, it's there. I mean, seeing that dude, he can be a freak. And I think if he has the year that even Bender had, or he's super complimentary to what him and Hill can do together, the man's about to make him some crazy money at the next level, because he reminds me a lot at the linebacker position to Jordan Hicks. It just has a Jordan Hicks look to him. And of course, out of Ohio too, Jordan, and a great career. I think he can eventually develop to something like that. And if he does, that defense that we're already high as hell on, sweet baby Jesus, it's going to be real. So I think Trey Moore, I want that for him. I appreciate him sacrificing what he has done, going and making himself more versatile. And everything I've heard to this point is going really well. And now when the bullets really start flying, I hope he keeps balling out and develop into that pretty dang good linebacker who can also go at the edge and cause some issues.
Yeah, it's a great call out.
I like that pick a lot. Mine's in a similar vein in respect to what I think this guy means, especially to the guy that's playing the position opposite of him. And I think, Metcalf, you mentioned like Taft's going to be our leader, but I do think the great thing about our experience that you're talking about, Quan, is that we kind of have a leader at every level, in my opinion. And it's Taft in the defensive backfield, and it's Hill to me in the linebacking core. And then it's this guy rushing on the edge, Ethan Burke. Like, this guy is going to make Colin Simmons' job so much easier if he can set the edge when opponents are trying to run the ball against us and can get after the pass as well. If Colin Simmons isn't getting double teamed, how much better does that make our team? If Burke is winning his matchup and Simmons is winning his matchup, and then we get to
double team, they're in trouble.
But if Burke is that good, then they can't, right? And then PK can send LaFau, or he can send Moore, or he can send Anthony Hill with disguised blitzes, or one of our DBs. He can bring Taft in a safety blitz. Like, there's all these different options that become available to PK, and I think some of that has to do with the leadership that Burke is going to provide, and just being an engine, being a guy with a high motor and getting after it every single play. So there's so much depth on our team, but I think if our leaders do what they need to do on the defense every single down, it's going to make the other guys sing so much more. One thing we didn't mention about Taft, he's a Thorpe finalist preseason guy to look out for. Same thing with Malik Muhammad as well. So obviously Jade won that award last year. So if Taft can repeat, if we can have two Longhorns go back to back in that award, whether it's Muhammad or Taft, or that reflects excellently on his projected stock, like you're talking about, Metcalf, with him, boosting where he could get drafted. Because I feel like he could have been drafted last year. People were talking maybe 4th, 5th round, but we know how much higher he can go if he has a great year and our defense does what we think it can do.
And to your point on Ethan Burke, the role he played we're talking about DBs and Thorpe and all that, but we had a lot of goal line stands last year. And Burke was right in the mix when he was in that rotation and name being called. And again, it was all the above. But yeah, I mean, of course, that interior crew, you know, they were real too. But yeah, no, I really like that pick. And it's weird because not they called his name, but it just there were so many so-called high-rated superstar level whatever big names that he was always there. He was always a dog, but he didn't really quite get that due. And I think this could be another. What's crazy is they're already established, but it still sounds like a coming out party. Like right, and really mainly from the PR level and the draft status level. So it's damn sure first world problems because Burke's going to be a beast. I think he's going to have a great career.
That happens. Like I feel like it's been happening every year. It's been a coming out party. Like Jade wasn't a first round pick going into the year last year. Makuba wasn't a second round pick going into the year. By the way, he is going to be sick on the Eagles. That's total side note, but like, come on, he's going to be dope. He wasn't a second round pick. Was Byron Murphy a top 20 pick? No, like these guys were not that. And I know I don't want to get spoiled with all this constant development, but this is just the way things trend. Am I crazy? Or was it Ethan Burke that he was part of that final stand against A&M in their house, right?
That's
he was
exactly
on that,
what came to mind.
Yes.
He's on that play. Like he's on that play, and all these guys, Burke, Moore, Taft being mentioned, right? These are the guys, not January because he's a sophomore, but the other three guys that y'all mentioned, these are the guys that we're looking at to, aside from the Hills and the Simmonses that are studs, and even Malik Muhammad I could even throw into this group but I think he's kind of in between, right? To take the next jump, raise their status, and be the dominant forces on our defense, because that's just the way things have been happening the past couple of years.
Right. And when you look at all these guys that we've mentioned, when you talk about superstars being on your roster, whether it be on the offense or the defense, if you're the other guy, that gives you the perfect opportunity to shine. The perfect opportunity, because these guys are getting all the pub and the press, and they're getting double teamed, whether it be a defensive lineman or a receiver or what have you, and you get the opportunity to go one-on-one against whoever that tackle may be, or whoever's that tight end may be trying to block a Burke. And so I think, like you said, he made plays against A&M. This gives him a chance to shine because, like you said, if they don't double team Colin Simmons, then all those coaches should be fired, right? They shouldn't have a job, and you shouldn't be paying the rest of their contract out because you're dumb. Because you're dumb. And so that gives Ethan Burke an opportunity to be mano y mano. And I'm better than you, and I'm gonna go make plays, and this is how we're gonna win football games.
And truth be told, that didn't work out very well for them even last year. Right. When he was mano a mano, he was just as effective as a Simmons, as everyone else out there eating. And that's those poor coaches, because they are going to be in trouble because he can make it to a point where they almost can't, or they just got to. I mean, again, that's why everybody is so high on these defense, because you're like, man, if you don't chip double Simmons, you're crazy. But if you do, Burke do what he's been doing, he's gonna. I mean, it's just so many levels of drama, and we didn't even, like we said, we weren't even allowed to talk about A Hill. I mean, it is why we're fired up about the defense.